Well, hi, and thank you again for joining us for a word from the pastor concerning prayer. We have for several weeks been considering that extraordinary exhortation and invitation found in Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 16, where God commands us to come boldly before his throne of grace that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need. I want us to note that we are exhorted here to come with boldness in prayer to the throne of God's grace. Oh, give praise to God that we come not before the throne of the law. Remember the terror of Israel coming before the throne of the law at Sinai. When God descended on that mountain in majestic holiness, the ground trembled at his presence. The mountain convulsed with tremors and fire and smoke. So holy was that place that anyone who came near to touch the mountain would die in the holy presence of God. Even Moses trembled with fear before the mountain of God's law. Compare Exodus chapter 19, verses 10 through 25, and Hebrews chapter 12, verses 18 through 29. Such were the demands of God's holy law that no man could stand in his presence. Literally, all were condemned. Oh, but we do not now come before the throne of holy law. We come before the throne of God's grace. How delightful that word, grace. Grace means unmerited favor. Wonderful, marvelous, infinite, matchless grace. Grace that exceeds our sin and our guilt. Sin-forgiving grace. Condemnation-crushing grace. Guilt-destroying grace. Unmerited favor-bestowing grace. Oh, beloved, the grace of our loving God is treasured up in Christ Jesus, to be lavishly dispensed upon all those who are in Christ. Oh, dear child of God, when you come before God's throne in prayer, you come as one justified by faith in Jesus Christ. You come not as one justified by works of the law, for if you came thus, there would only be condemnation and death. Oh, beloved, Christ has perfectly fulfilled the law for us, and God's grace bestows the merits of Jesus' perfect obedience to you. You can come boldly before holy God because grace clothes you with the very righteousness of Christ. And do not miss this point. God's throne before which you come in prayer is the place where God's grace is richly dispensed to those who are in Christ. You will find no condemnation before this throne. You will find your guilt forever removed before this throne. You will discover no shame before this throne. Why? Because grace has stripped you of your filthy garment of sin, and in its place grace clothes you with the pure garment of the righteousness of Jesus Christ. So come boldly in prayer, for you come before the throne of God's matchless grace. And he who sits upon that throne is grace itself. May God bless you. Have a good week.